Radio.
Say if you're not frustrated, there's something wrong with you, and you shouldn't be on this team. You shouldn't be a coach. You're not frustrated. We want to win. We want to put the effort. We do put the effort in week to week, every single day of practice. We have the guys, the quality guys, good football players on the team to do it. So if you're not frustrated, there's something wrong. We got to find.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. What you say? We came here with the mindset that we was gonna win no matter what.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Look at us. We're back in action. And I love you, audience. Thank you for your applause.
It looks like there's room for some more people. Come on in. Those in the back.
Yep. Don't be shy. Sit down. Yep. This is live, as you know. And as you also know, we are FuzzJockRadio. We're just going to get right into it. One of the Hests, we call ourselves Hests, not hosts and not guests, because there is no, as you know, how many times can I say no, Charles?
More.
Okay.
You can say it more times.
As you know, there is no one that is better than each other on this show. So we don't say Hests, or we don't say hosts, we don't say guests. We call each other Hests because everybody's a Hest. And I'm one of those. Ooh. And I'm one of them, Fuzzy. And we have one of the other Hests that's with us pretty much all the time, Charles.
That's me.
And then we have a special Hest, not really special, but he's a Hest, it's Hest. Here, we got this here. Can we do this? We got the one, the only Hest Turff.
Hello, world. Being brought in by my own theme song I helped write for you guys. Which, for the record, this was supposed to be a draft, and I sent it to Charlie, and I'm like, yeah, just like let me know the problems with it, and I'll like fix it. And then he's no, it's great, perfect. We love it. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't like that. I need to do more. And he's like, no, we want. I'm like, oh God, like that's like it's like a naked photo of me being out in the world.
Charles never told me that. I want to. What, Charles? This is his naked. This is a naked picture of Turff. We're showing a naked picture of Turff to our audience right now. This is
you have one of my audio nudes.
This is definitely not suitable for
public consumption.
Oh, not suitable for work at all. It's epic, though. It is epic. We don't show it off too much, so at least you got that consolidation for you.
I mean. Sure. I think I went and looked up, I think it was like Hard Copy or like one of those like 90s news shows. And I was like, all right, what do these like theme songs sound like? And I was like, wow, they're like way more epic than you'd think.
Yeah.
For like, you'd think that it would just be like, bump, 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 shit sucks. And like, no, it turns out it was like all horns and super, like, it was like Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, this is Hard Copy?
Yeah.
Like,
It's something else. So that those news broadcasts, unlike us, usually have things playing in the background and stuff like that. Just you don't like to play with your emotions and stuff. And we're not going to be like one of those. But should we maybe just have it playing in the background this whole time during the whole cast? That won't make it. Really
I will like actually murder somebody if it's playing. Like I will like my self-loathing will boil over to the point where I can't handle it.
So yeah, we have Turff with us, and we have Charles, and we have me. And the way we usually start this show is we talk about what we did this last week and how things were going and what's going on. Charles, how are you doing?
I'm good. Halloween just happened, so I decorated our house with spooky stuff and made it all scary. I'm sure it terrified you on your way here.
I'm always in pants shitting terror when I come over to your home.
Hold on, you still have your Halloween stuff up? It's November 1st.
It's actually Day of the Dead today.
Oh yeah, I have my stuff up still too, so don't worry.
I consider today Day of the Rent, so that's what's scary to me. It's like it's the or Day of the Mortgage for some of you, but I'm still just Day of the Rent.
We have a comedian in our midst, Charles. You didn't tell me that. This is going to be a fun episode. Let me move myself in here. Okay,
athlete,
so you had Halloween. You had Halloween, and you and your Dodgers are not playing in the Super Bowl anymore. So
we're all very sad. Yeah, LA will never be the same.
And
we can't take
Turff. You're in LA.
Yes, I am. I am like at this point kind of a longtime Angelino. Like I've lived here longer than I lived in Minnesota. Longer than I lived in Mankato, longer than I lived in Minneapolis.
Are you and you're from Minnesota, Blue Earth?
Yes, originally. So I was.
I pulled that
the
out
full
of my
version of the
ass.
story is I was born in a small town in Washington State, and then my mom and dad got divorced, and my mom was like, "I'm gonna go back to my hometown for like 6 months, get my life together, and then move back to Seattle." And well, that never happened. So that's how I grew up in Blue Earth, Minnesota.
And good thing.
Mm-hmm. And then made my way up to I went to college in Rochester, moved from there, was playing in the band Fedge. That's what brought me to Mankato. From Mankato, joined the band Scream Mechanical Brain, went up to Minneapolis. From there, met some people that were like, "Hey, you should come to LA. You do really well out here." Came out, and that was like a little over 8 years ago now.
Wow. And wow. So what have I been doing this last week? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then especially with the beauty of being out here is the type of stuff you do, like that you specifically as a musician get to do for work that you wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I write a lot of music for a lot of reality TV shows now. Like, so if you're ever watching like, Ghost Hunters
or people getting bit by things.
Yeah, or the Kings of Pain. I had a bunch of music on that show a couple years ago. It was all over like the History Channel. And so like,
and you're a friend of ours.
And and I'm just like one of your dumbass buddies. Like I'm just like
from Blue Earth, Minnesota, from small town in Washington. But no, I'm just impressed. I'm just really impressed because even though you have this epic theme song to come in with, and even though you have all these awesome things to say about where you've come from, I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's pretty awesome that you did your homework about the show. Like, you knew the question was going to be, what did you do this last week? And you knew you've never been on the show before. So you're like, I'm going to start from the very beginning. And I'm just sitting here like,
what have I been up to this last week?
I didn't even have to ask you to do that. That was great. That was great. But just know that even though I'm giving you all these accolades right now, you're not better than anyone else that's been on the show. Okay.
No, first amongst equals.
Yes,
we're all
equals.
It's like the that's the Orthodox Church that does that, where it's like what's their name? Like, okay, we've got like the bishops in like the Catholic Church, and then the Orthodox. They're not the rabbis.
I don't know. I'm not religious. I don't know.
Neither am I. I don't know why I know this. I probably know this from playing too much Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah,
so I've learned everything I know about religion.
I know a lot about Catholicism because I was raised all that stuff. But this is not a religious podcast. This is actually a sports podcast. Should we go into what I did, or should we just go into ready for some football? Okay. This last week, it was Halloween. I did all the fuzzy Halloween stuff. So. Last week, are we getting into this right now, right away, Charles? Like, should we just
we're gonna
do
start
this?
with this one. Keep it up,
okay,
like we did last.
Okay, we're just gonna keep it going. CFL played some games this last week on Friday and Saturday, October 29th and 30th. The Stampeders beat the Red Blacks. It's hard. It's hard to say two. Is it hard for you guys to say two colors at the same time? Red Blacks, like as one word. That's hard for me to say for some
green.
Blue greens or blue blacks are really hard to say. That's really hard to say too. Blue and black is easier, but okay, I digress.
Red Blacks also, just so you know, it means the lumberjack shirt.
Oh,
that's why
it's supposed to be
Red Blacks.
Yeah, I was like, does this seem inappropriate? Like, I don't.
They used to be the inappropriate team.
Okay.
They were called the Eskimo. The Elks used to be called the Eskimos, but they've changed that recently.
I see exactly how that one changed. Yeah, yes. With Red Blacks, I was like, is this going to be like some like really terrible thing I don't want to know about? That they were like, well, we'll simplify it to this now.
So the Tiger Cats won, the Agronauts won, and the Rough Riders won. Good job, CFL. No,
the Blue Bombers played. They did not play, so they didn't destroy anyone this week because they had the bye week.
Okay. I was just going to say, good job, but no disgraces amongst your league like the NFL has once a week or multiple times a week. The Lions are still winless. So we're gonna go in. So we're gonna talk about CFL and NFL audience, just to let you know. Last week, Turf, we tried to not talk about the NFL at all and just replace them with the CFL because there was this.
Okay.
There was this.
Yeah, I've never even heard the term CFL before this moment, so I'm
Canadian.
I'm learning.
Yeah, Canadian Football League. That's what this podcast is about. Is learning.
Okay, the Canadian Football League. Yeah. So like, it's a good thing I brought along my my football. It's like it's soccer, right? That's what that's Canadian football, right?
No, it's kind of like American football, but different.
You could have just told me yes, and I would have bought it.
But we're just going with it, you know.
I wanted to bring up with the Lions being winless.
So the Lions are still winless.
This is the first year that they're going to have 17 games that they're going to play. And so are the Lions trying to go for the first team to be 0-17 the first year you can be 0-17? Are they like just gunning for that record?
Well, you know, we've talked about this in previous episodes where the Twins was it the Twins that were doing really bad, or was it Timberwolves, or was it the Vikings last year?
Twins you're thinking of.
I mean, one of our Minnesota teams, because they're usually all pretty bad. We're doing really bad, and we're like, why not start breaking some records? We're down there already. It was the Twins last year. Yeah, now that I remember, we're down there already. Why not start making those records of the most the worst team in MLB history? If you're down there already. So yeah, that's probably what's going on with the Lions. They want Common on that other radio station to count be able to. They're teaching Detroit how to count to 17.
Yep. Do you know how they count in Detroit?
I don't know how they count in Detroit.
How do they count in Detroit?
0-1, 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, 0-5. Yeah.
Copyright Common Man.
Copyright Common Man from that other radio station. Just gonna give him the credit.
The only person we know from Detroit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
no, I know other people from Detroit. What are you talking about?
Impossible.
Yeah.
Hey man, I was just listening to a whole podcast the other day about a guy who moved to Detroit, and the whole time I'm like, Detroit sounds kind of cool. Like, should I go to Detroit?
Some of the coolest people come from Detroit. My best friend Splinter's wife comes from Detroit. Charles, you're currently my co-host, so you can't be my best friend. You only can be one at one.
Only one title.
One title at a time. His wife's Splinter's wife's from Detroit. Two of my really good friends that I see once a week, they're from Detroit. They're really awesome people. Shout outs to Lynn and Keith. What a nightmare for the Vikes on Halloween night, huh, guys?
So Turf probably doesn't know. Last night, the Cowboys and the Vikings played on Monday night or on Sunday Night Football in front of the whole nation to watch.
Okay.
And the Cowboys had a backup quarterback play who had never thrown a ball in the NFL ever before.
Let me set it up.
Yeah.
So
he said.
So Turf, on Sunday is football day for the Americans.
Oh, I don't, but okay.
So
they tell us, the TV tells us it is.
I mean, like, I know the Monday Night Football theme from the fact that I was alive in the 90s, and like that's probably about where like my knowledge of football ends.
Okay.
So like you could tell me anything and I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Okay. So Sunday for the Americans is football day, and they start playing football from like noon until later in the evening, right? Well, this Sunday ended up being Halloween Sunday. And on Halloween Sunday, they decided to have a very even more later football game to happen for their last game of the Sunday football for the Americans, right? And so
it's the last game of the normal season on Sunday?
Just a normal day.
Just normal day. But since it's Halloween, they know that all the adults are going to be at home, handing out candy, and they need some. And so everybody in America is going to be tuned in to the late night Sunday night football game.
They're trying to sandbag the ratings. Got it.
They people in the audience are wearing costumes. The announcers are talking about how they should have worn costumes. It's epic. It's like one of the biggest shows on earth here. Well, in America at least. And I mean, it's
The
Halloween.
center of her.
Halloween. It's Halloween.
Mhm.
It's like
100%.
it's America's fucking celebration of Halloween, you know? And football. And the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings are playing that night. And the Cowboys, like our America's team, they're playing the Vikings. They got this really awesome quarterback,
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. Yeah, I was gonna say Drew Brees for some reason. He's the American football.
Dr. Drew
player.
Prescott. Yeah. I've listened to his show about sex before.
And so we're like gearing up. We're gonna big show on Earth, you know, everything, and then they take out their star quarterback, and we're like, whoa, what's going on? We're going to kick their ass. No, actually, the Cowboys are like, we don't have to worry about putting our top quarterback in. We can just put in our secondary quarterback that has never thrown a pass, and we're gonna still beat the Vikings, and they did. And
Did Minnesota score at all? At least
they
a lot, very few times.
they
13
lost
points?
20-16.
60.
Our quarterback threw 184 passing yards,
That's terrible.
which is not good.
it's more than I could do.
No, you might be able to actually throw more than that in an NFL game.
So here
You
you
might
go.
be able to do better than that.
148 yards compared to their quarterback that never thrown a pass, 325 yards.
Oh wow.
So a big difference there.
Mhm.
A bunch of touchdowns. Yeah, it was a bad game. So
Mhm.
basically to say, in front of all of America, the Vikings lost to the Cowboys secondary quarterback.
In really bad fashion.
In really bad
So
fashion.
I mean, I think you touched on the point earlier of like, at what point do we ask the Minnesota teams to just start like gunning for the bottom of the leagues? Like, because like what they need to do is they need to bring in some sort of like, we got like the wild card spots, but like, what about like if at the very end the bottom two teams of the league, they have like an extra wild card game, and then whoever is like wins that, then they get put in the Super Bowl. Like, or you just take those guys and like they're put in that, and like
they're thrown into a playoff game, even though they're
Yes,
far
yeah.
out.
They're thrown into the playoffs
They have
at the
no
end.
reason to be there, but they get one shot, and then they could be the
And then
dark
maybe
horse who could
maybe
win it.
somehow
Yeah.
they get it,
Yeah.
or more than likely it just ends up being like
Sure.
basically a free win to whoever the team is. But I do think that there needs to be some
Instead
sort
of a bye week, you get to fight one of the worst teams in the league.
Yes,
I love it.
There we go.
I love it.
We'll call it the Candyland. It'll be the Candyland spot because it'll be just like when you hit on like one of the ladders
wow, I
in
like
Candyland,
that,
and then
yeah.
all of a sudden get like jumped up to the top.
I do like that. I like that a lot. And yeah, the Minnesota teams could fill that spot very easily.
Yeah,
every
that could be our
season.
spot, like Minnesota Candyland champs. Like,
Well, we'd have to compete with the Lions, but
Yeah, it's pretty true. Yeah.
yeah, no, it was just really piss poor showing. Everybody is clamoring to fire the head coach now because it's been multiple seasons and just not doing that well. I, on the other hand, feel that they should fire everybody on the team. And then other people are saying that they should fire Kirk Cousins. And then this is where we come up with the, whoa, shit, I did not line it up. Oh, I did not. I just figured out what I wanted to have for the
We're
Fuzz.
talking about how things go perfectly.
yes, we're talking about
this is exactly that.
Oh, no.
no
Then
matter how much planning you do, it always goes wrong in a new way.
well, this isn't. Oh, shit. I want this to be the question of the week, but I can't if we can't extrapolate.
No, I don't want to. I like the idea of us not being able to explain this question. I know what you're going to ask.
Okay. We all know what that sound means, or what this jingle is. It's time for the
Buzz question of the week.
Okay, this is when I ask a question and the other has answered the question. They explain why they want that to be their answer, and then we don't discuss it. We just move on. We don't discuss why Charles's answer is wrong. We just let him be wrong. So, sorry, JMez isn't here to make fun of. By the way, JMez is still on vacation. I went to go check the emails to see if maybe he emailed us or something like that, but unfortunately I forgot that JMez is the only person that has access to our emails.
So I hope he's not emailing himself.
So he might be, but I don't know.
He could tweet at you.
Yeah, vacation. I don't want to bother him because of vacation, but we'll see. Let's get back to this. Oh shit.
We all know what that sound means, or what this jingle is. It's time for the
Buzz question of the week.
Okay, so the buzz question of the week this week is: should the Vikings fire Zimmer, their quarterback, their head coach, their quarterback, or both? Charles.
Ooh, Kirk, the quarterback.
And why?
And why is because he's such a liability. He's a stat queen. I hate him.
Okay. Turf. Should the Vikings fire the quarterback, the head coach, or both of them?
Clean the house. Clean the house all the time, always. Like, it's not working. Like, just like, I think what they need to do is this needs to be like, what was it back in the 70s when we had like the Minnesota hockey team take on like the Soviets? Sure. I think we need to just like clear it out, like pick like the top high school team in the state and just make them the Vikings.
I like that. I like that idea. That's good.
Like, can't do worse.
Yeah. Well, there we go. And that was their
Buzz question of the week.
Yeah, there we go. I did that.
Blam.
That sounder worked perfect there. Yeah, we'll keep on talking about it a little bit. I think that they should get rid of the whole thing too.
Clean it out.
Along with that, I like Zimmer a lot. He seems like a really nice guy. Unfortunately, real nice guys don't win. Like, he started off as being like the coach that you did not want to cross. Now he's like a teddy bear, and teddy bears don't win games, I guess, right?
Well, I mean, that was Leslie Frazier's big criticism, is he was too nice of a guy, and so people couldn't take him seriously anymore. Maybe that's happening to Zim. Maybe he's softened up, and they're like, this isn't the tough asshole.
Well, there is definitely a big disconnect between him and the quarterback, and I think that's the biggest problem. And Turf, I know that you don't know this, but our quarterback and our top wide receiver are both anti-vaxxers.
Oh, that's no good.
And that's what made the very first big riff. I mean, not the very first big riff, but the biggest riff start at the very beginning of the season, because the quarterback and the top wide receiver did not want to get vaccinated. And the coach was like, motherfuckers, what are you fucking talking about? I have grandchildren. I want to be able to see my grandchildren. I don't want to die.
So now, is it, do they have like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, you either need to be vaccinated or we need to test the shit out of you? Or is it like...
They get tested the shit out of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But I mean, even with the way everything's been working, it's like you should still get vaccinated and get the shit tested out of you, because like,
yeah,
it's fucking weird. And I have zero patience for that anti-vax crew. So all the more reason, like, just clean them out, let God sort them out.
Right. And so, like, there's this quote that Cousins that I believe really encapsulates this whole thing. After last night's game, he goes, "I just let Zim handle the timeouts because I never know quite what the coaches want to do with what they're thinking, a play ahead or what they may be. So I just gonna let them handle that and call the next play if one came in." He doesn't know what is on the coach's minds when there's a timeout. When there's like, it was like he's mentioning, it's like there's like 20 seconds left in the quarter, and he wasn't sure if the coaches wanted to call a timeout or let the clock play out.
And he was the one who ran the ball and caused the clock to tick. So it's like he should be the one who knows, I caused it to keep going. I better call a timeout.
How long has he been working with Zimmer?
I think 4 years, 5 years.
4 or 5 years. The top contract for a multi-billion-dollar contract, top contract signed, working with the motherfucker with his coach for 5 years, doesn't know what he's thinking. You're with somebody for 5 years and you're getting paid that much, and you're gonna say you don't know what he's thinking? Fuck you. Like, seriously, like, you're supposed to be the top dog. And yeah, everybody wants to blame Zimmer, right? Because he's the coach. He's the one that's calling the plays. Well, actually, there's an offensive play coach that's calling the plays, but, Zimmer's the top dog. He's the leader. Well, yeah, every coach is the leader. At the same time, on the field, you need somebody to lead the team. And usually that's the quarterback.
Yeah, usually it's the guy who has the ball and can decide where it goes.
Call the fucking timeout.
Yeah. So now, question, once again, coming into this as an expert in many things that are not football related, what would it take to actually oust this guy? Like, is there something in his contract where they can, like...
No, they can do it they can do it tomorrow if they want.
Okay, so there's no thing where it's like, oh, well, you've got to deal with me for 5 years. And tomorrow they could call him in and they'd be able to, like, take a hike. And
they'd lose a chunk of money, but they wouldn't lose all of the money.
Okay, so there's just like a severance.
Yeah, they could just... Well, it would be more of a dead cap hit against them, and they would get paid some of it, but they would not get, like, he got paid this huge amount. It was only so much guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is just not paid.
So yeah, I was just
not get a penny of it.
So it's kind of like CEO pay, where it's like you get paid by hitting certain like goals.
Yes.
Not like, it's not like you or I, like normal, like us as normal human beings who just make money for doing things.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep. So, like if you're a defensive player and you get so many sacks, you get more. Your pay gets increased like more based on how many sacks you get if it's in your contract.
So it's like being the general manager for a McDonald's, where you're getting a certain amount of pay for selling so many French fries.
100%.
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, back to the leadership thing too. It's like, so I heard on the radio or the stats that there was 3 third down conversion attempts and they didn't make all 3. That's really bad. And the reason for that to happen is because Kirk kept on passing, doing what they call checkdowns.
Yes, checkdowns.
And a checkdown is when you pass to the third option, and it's usually before so Turf, to get a first down, to get a reset of plays, you have to go 10 yards, right?
All right, I do know that.
Okay. So a check down is that you see your first receiver is not covered, your second receiver is covered, your third receiver is not covered, and the third receiver most likely is going to be before the short of the
10-yard line.
10-yard line, the first down line.
Okay, got it.
Okay, he did that 3 times in a row. And then the player didn't break a tackle and didn't make it the first down.
Yep. And they did multiple screens and none of them worked. Which is when you throw a ball directly to a player and you're supposed to just outrun the guy in front of him, and like there's people block for him. They could not accomplish 5 yards on a screen. Usually you can get a almost instant first down on that.
So, all right. Now, I just thought of I've just realized in the course of this conversation that I actually did have one piece of football-related news I experienced this week, and this hadn't even dawned on me. But so one of my longtime music clients, I was having dinner with them a couple nights ago, and I saw the Green Bay guy catch it because the people my clients are from Madison.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a house full of Packer fans, and then I remember I watched that, and I watched this entire family of very very well-to-do people freak out in the middle of a conversation about something else, and I was like, they're like, it's important, it's good. I was like, well, I mean, but you're Green Bay people, and I'm from Minnesota, so it's not good.
Not good.
Inherently to me. I think you're all wrong. I couldn't tell you why.
That's good.
How you were raised.
Yeah, so as a leader, Kirk should be not checking. As a good quarterback that's getting paid a bunch of money, he shouldn't be checking it down all the time. No. And why is that happening? Because his first options are not getting open.
Once again, to me, this sounds like they need to fire everybody.
Absolutely. And I don't deal with conspiracies. However, there are two anti-vaxxers equation. And there's one person that a lot of people are starting to clamor for. What if Kirk and Thielen were doing some of this on purpose to get rid of Zimmer?
Oh, that's why they both have been playing terrible. Because I was just gonna say Justin Jefferson is the only one who's not playing bad.
100%.
So that would make sense if those two are tanking it on purpose.
And
to get rid of
Adam is not on Zimmer's. You can tell he does not like
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Especially according to that fucking clip that we got from him. He says, if you're not frustrated, you shouldn't be a coach on this team. Like he's calling for his head coach's head. 100%. And
Now,
I almost
once
think
again-
that the anti-vaxxers are going against our head coach right now.
So that would be my next question is, so now, like, just once again, as a guy who is a football idiot, what would be the financial motivation that would be, like, what would motivate doing something that's that much of a dick move?
If Kirk's an asshole, everybody thinks he's 100% the best person in the world because he's a really nice Christian boy. Sorry.
Well, if there's anything I learned from growing up in a small town in Minnesota, it's that that's never true.
100% exactly right. Right? And I'm sorry to put it out there like that, but that's what I believe is happening. That everybody loves Kirk because he's a nice Christian boy and he could never do anything wrong. And I think that's what's happening. He doesn't have any financial gain. He doesn't fucking care. He's righteous.
Well, especially if
that's dangerous.
Yeah, if he wants to just get rid of him and then say they get a new coach and then him and Adam stop their protest, then the new coach looks good. Then all of a sudden they can get paid bigger contracts because it wasn't their fault; it was the coach's fault.
Ding.
All right, so now here's what I think. So this is a verifiable thesis, right? So I think what you need to do is we need to like get the stats on these guys. You need to have this like under lock and key so that it's ready. So then if this like change comes to pass, if all of a sudden you notice there's a huge statistical jump on those guys, I think you've got a pretty compelling case that that's exactly what just happened.
Unfortunately, with Kirk being a garbage quarterback, which a lot of people will get mad at me for saying, will be hard to notice that change because no matter how bad he's doing, he's making the yards. He's still like his season stats still will look good because he's getting the stats that don't matter.
So how could we test this? How could we test
I think we could still look at the style of play, like how many downfield passes he's doing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah,
stuff like that. I think we could still do this. I actually want to try this. If Zimmer gets fired, I want to go back and look through all the stats and see if there is a marketable difference once the new coach comes in between those two.
I also want to see game tape and see like how many times some of those down the field receivers are actually open, but he decides to check down. Because that's another thing that I've noticed with Kirk too, is that he is not a quarter, like he had a problem with not releasing it quick enough last season. So I'm guessing that they must have worked on it this season because he is getting rid of it a lot quicker. He's not taking sacks like he was last season, but all those, quick passes are the checkdowns. He might not even be looking at his first and second option and just knows that he's going to be checking down.
Yeah, he just wants to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, because if they do break that tackle, he still gets those yards.
Yeah,
So all right. So one more question for you. I'm fascinated by this thesis you've put out of like I think these guys are sandbagging. So like now, what would be like a number that would not like? So I'm thinking like because if you've got an improved coach, like let's say a new guy comes in, I would assume that all stats would get better. But if he's like, how could we verify that? Like versus if there's just one or two spots that stay the same in both situations, and then or stay like one or two spots that change, but everything else stays the same. Wouldn't that kind of prove that it was through like an active will rather than through just like the general improvement in the quality of coaching and training?
Yeah. We'll have to look into it. I think that's
and we can get the all 22 film because we just have to ask. I think I know someone who has the NFL Rewind, they
Okay.
have access to all 22. So we could even just take a glance at a couple plays and see how that is.
Yeah, dude, there's a supercut that needs to be made, put on YouTube, and like you guys need to blow
We need
the
to
lid
talk
open
to-
wide on this.
We need to talk to John Boy. I
Yeah.
bet they'd get into this with us.
Oh,
They helped break down the Astros cheating scandal.
Oh, yeah, you were telling
And
me about that.
that guy who made that goofy video about the baseball we watched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he like making those goofy videos. He got turned on to that, and so it's just
Yeah, dude,
amazing. This guy John Boy.
Yeah, tweet at that
stuff.
guy. Like,
That's a good idea.
let him know, like, because this is like, there's like ridiculous conspiracy theories where it's like, oh, Hillary Clinton is an alien. Like, okay, like, but then you got this kind of conspiracy theory where you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I see,
this.
yeah, like this is verifiable. Like,
Okay. Well, we'll expand on this now that I'm not just a crazy person.
no, I think that is a reasonable conspiracy theory.
So with that, with our loss, Vikings are now 3-4. The Packers are 7-1. Bills are 5-2. Cowboys are 6-1. Raiders are 5-2. Cardinals are 7-1. Ravens 5-2. Titans 6-2, and the Buccaneers 6-2. And where are those kitties again?
At the bottom of
0-8. 0-8.
Those poor cats.
Baseball is fun again in Minnesota.
So baseball is closed for the season. Well, I mean, there's that Super Bowl going on or whatever, but it doesn't matter. The Twins. Well, no, I mean the Twins. Nelson Cruz. He is a twin forever. Nelson Cruz was a twin that went down to the Tampa Bay organization to try to win a World Series with them, but they did not make it. But Nelson Cruz for 2021 season won the Roberto Clemente Award, which includes the Twins. I'm really losing my words right now. Rock Cruz, part of it, 1977. Dave Winfield, 1994. Kirby Puckett, 1996. And Nelson Cruz in 2021. So congratulations to Nelson Cruz for winning the Roberto Clemente Award.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
A lot of good names in there.
Let's move.
Man,
that's like the group of names.
Kirby Puckett, man, he's like the OG. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm old enough to remember like the '92 World Series and staying up late to watch that.
Maybe I should drink some water here. Let's see here.
Maybe the water will help you speak.
Okay, there we go. In tech news, Minnesota man has been charged with hacking into computer system used by the Major League Baseball and trying to extort the league of $150,000. The U.S. Attorney's Office of Southern District of New York said in the emails with an MLB executive, this Joshua Strait, 30 years old, threatened to publicize the vulnerability that he used to access the league's website for streaming live games before asking for $150,000 for finding the technology flaw, according to charging documents. Strait allegedly renewed his extortion attempt in September at a time of heightened scrutiny for the MLB as it was preparing for the playoffs. The news comes ahead of Game 3 of the World Series between the Houston Astros and Atlanta Braves. So this dude broke into the MLB's streaming services and then asked for $150,000.
I think they should have given it to him. He found a flaw in their system and told them about it.
So I was gonna say like that's a pretty common thing.
Work. He did work for them.
That's like a fairly common thing in like the big tech world where they'll have like open bounties.
White hat hackers.
Yeah, 100%.
100%, right? And then so like this article is making it sound like however this article makes it sound like he's hacking. It's like
he's gonna get in trouble.
He's gonna definitely get fucked in this, but like,
the reason why I think is because
without seeing the emails, it's kind of hard because it's like it'd be one thing if he like comes in and is like, LOL, you guys suck, pay me money, send it to me in Bitcoin. It's another thing entirely if he's like, hey, like I'm a big like baseball fan, y'all like missed this, also it would be pretty reasonable to pay me this.
Well, with it says that he is accused of also illegally streaming the copyrighted live games from the MLB, NBA, National Football League, and So it's not like he just hacked it and then is like, "Hey guys, give me 155."
He was using it too.
Well, he's extorting it. You know, he's
All right, so but
he's
same question.
blackmailing.
I mean,
because white hats will break into it and then offer the fix for free, and then hopefully the company will pay them, or like you said, that the companies usually put out bounties, for people to find those flaws. This guy, he's like, I found the flaw, I'm streaming it, and now I'm going to ask for money.
All right, so one more question in this. Like, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but like, now is the different? Was he running like one of these like streaming sites?
Yes.
He was giving them the access for the streaming sites.
Okay, so then
he's the guy who would get in most trouble. For doing. Like,
I was like, if this is a situation where he's like, oh yeah, well, I was like streaming it myself, but if it, like, that'd be one argument versus if it's like, but I also made like, like stream the MLB.com
and made Bitcoin off of it.
Yeah, and was like charging you Bitcoin to do it. Like, you're right. Then you're going upriver, man.
Says one of the leagues, sports leagues, lost almost $3 million because of Straits actions, the U.S. Attorney's Office said on a press release.
I don't buy that. All right, but as a general, those numbers are always such bullshit. That's like when you hear about like a drug like find, and they're like, they found them with $3 billion of cocaine. You're like, no, they didn't.
Well,
no, that's not true.
Well,
if
the other thing
goes into a single quarter gram and sold at the highest quantity possible, maybe it would almost be that much. Still not.
Yeah, it's like it's always using some flawed math.
We also spoke about this flawed math when they were talking about shutting down the leagues for the coronavirus and how much money they potentially will lose, and the ad revenue money. And it's like, you guys, like, that money doesn't even exist right now. Like, you can't even say how much you're going to be losing because it doesn't.
And they were at the same time signing contracts to get prepaid for TV deals. Yep. So it's not like they were being like, we aren't going to make all this money while signing a contract to make $5 billion.
I mean, yeah, like this is the moment you see money numbers talking anything related to crime and like dollar amount, like red flags need to always be up because like it's only in people's interest to inflate that.
Yeah. And it also brings me to my other. I want to do another Fuzz question of the week. Like, another question I have is like, when does it get to a point? Why am I hearing myself so much right now? When does it get to a point where some of this shit should just be free streaming anyways? They're making so much money off of advertising, and they could make so much more money off of advertising if they just stream it for free for us. They'll get so many more viewers. They'll like everything. In my mind, Turff, I'm sorry, but like maybe you don't have this type of a concept or thought, but like I also think that music and art should be free. Like, yes, I absolutely believe that the artists should get paid for their work. But I don't think that there should be middlemen making money off all this music all the time, I don't know. Like, I also think that TV programming and like comic book, I think a lot of things should just be free once they're created and put into the cosmos of the general public. Let me consume it. And so I can share it. It's free access. Let me consume it. Let me advertise it for you. Let me share it to other people. Like, your work will be viewed so much more if it's given to me for free. And then then nobody's going to jail too.
As a musician, and as somebody who supported himself via music, like for in some way, shape, or form, I've been making money off of this all of my adult life. And the best description of what you're talking about that I've ever heard was, I was just listening to, it's like, I remember reading, I think it was Trent Reznor said this. Yeah, where he said, he's like, your music is already free. This stuff is already free. It's just people live in denial about it, right? Like, you're right. I would love to go back to like the mid 80s when I could charge you $20 for a record, but that ship has sailed, right? Now I can sit here and be as sad about it as I want, but like, that's never going to bring that back. So now you're forced to live in this new environment. And I think you're totally right. Like, I think that like makes total sense to me. Like, everything, it's like the Mandalorian is free if you know where to look, right? Like
Sure.
you don't have to pay for HBO Max. Same deal with Dune just coming out and they put it on HBO Max. I was like, oh, they're doomed. Like that's got to be like
Everyone
that's
will find
everywhere
Yeah.
instantly. And same deal with it blows me away like what like ridiculous hoops they make people jump through to watch sports. It doesn't make any sense. And I think you're 100% correct. Make every bit of this free. Jack up the amount of like what they're charging for the ads.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that like we then become the product, right? Like what's happening is now we as the consumer are the product and they're selling the eyeballs to people.
Sure.
It's the Facebook model. Like
Sure.
they need to flip over to that where it's like, no, like you're the product and they're selling access to you.
And the thing is, unlike Facebook, music, media, sports, a lot of that stuff that we're asking for actually helps society.
Yeah.
Like it makes people feel better about themselves because they like with sports, like the people are able to see themselves as a sports player, or at least distract them from their everyday. Like that's the biggest one. What sports does is that it distracts people from their everyday mundane life or a coronavirus. We totally realized how much we missed baseball once it was gone, and how much.
100%.
How much people, even non-sports people, were affected by sports not being around, and and there's just so much money going on, and make those companies fucking pay more. Don't make us pay for it.
All right, so another baseball-related thing. I'm realizing I have more to talk about baseball than I ever would have thought I did. So I went to go see the Charleston River Dogs about a month ago, which would be the team that Bill Murray owns.
He owns many, but yeah.
Yeah, it's well because he lives in Charleston.
Okay.
So I think that's like his air quotes home team. But
Sure.
you're right. I think he is a big investor in a lot of those like
Bush League teams.
But that stated, so I went to go see this as a guy who like I played a little bit of baseball when I was like in second grade, but like obviously nothing serious. I had a great time. I loved it. Like I think they need to emphasize like going to baseball as though you're just hanging out like in a field with your friends.
Absolutely, that would be
like,
great.
Like just make it so I can bring along like a picnic basket and like fill it up with like some snacks and hang out with my friends, and I'll sit and watch all of your ads on the Jumbotron all day long and sell access to that instead of charging me to go to the game.
This is what they did in like the games are really cheap in like the 80s and 90s. And they would let you bring a fucking full basket full of food, Cracker Jack.
Yeah, let me show up with a bucket of KFC.
Yeah, KFC, whatever you wanted to bring. They were like, fuck it, come on in, just be here. Like
that's what they do with cricket, it seems.
Yeah, they just let everyone in. They have full picnic baskets and costumes.
Yeah, dude, tear down the Dodgers like all of the stadium seating. Just make it's in the middle of Chavez Ravine. Yeah. Just like
a huge lay down park where people can just watch the fucking game.
And then like make all your money off of selling the advertising and selling the dogs. Like
absolutely.
Okay, to tie that in with the next thing is that they absolutely should be giving us this shit for free. If they are recently uncovered campaign finance records show that the Minnesota Twins made $35,000 in donation in October to the All of Minneapolis, a political action committee opposed to a ballot question number 2 in the upcoming election, which would replace the Minneapolis Police Department.
The defund the police bill, right?
Yep. Yeah. And the group is also in favor of re-electing Mayor Jacob Fry. The list of donors include hundreds of individuals and some companies who have contributed to the campaign, including the donation made by the Minnesota Twins. When reached for comment, Twins officials said that they could confirm the donation but couldn't provide any details. So, if they are influencing fucking politics, their product should be fucking free.
Yeah, I mean,
they're using my money to watch them to go against what the public wants. It's horrible.
At this point, like we're getting into like deeper political, deeper social and political issues here. Of like, I mean, the amount of money, like, what is it like? How many businesses? Like, this is definitely a question for you guys, but like, how many businesses are there in America as a whole that are larger than professional sports? Like, for real,
Very few.
Yeah, like it's one of the single largest money moving, I would be fascinated to know like what the total value of like the NFL is or MLB.
It's
Just to give you an idea, like I think this is a low ball estimate. Ticket sales for a Dodgers game is like over $5 million
per game.
And they play 100 or they play 81 of them a year at home without playoffs.
Okay.
And that's a low ball estimate. And that's if you take the $100 is every ticket sold. Like this simple like that. Even though there's box seats and there's all sorts of other price ranges, they're making over $5 million one game on just the ticket sale. Over $5 million. Right away.
So
done.
The amount of money floating around in this world, like this only emphasizes this whole thing of like let it just be free because they shouldn't have this much money, right? Like these like sports should never have been like this profitable. Like I understand the need for there to be like a professional class of athletes, and that like if you're going to do this if you're going to do what they do, they should be compensated for what they do. But like rip out the rest of the middlemen, rip out the rest of these like leeches on the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Like, and then that way, like they aren't sitting here making $35,000 donations to these kind of things.
I also think that they should have the teams should be owned locally instead of having owners.
100%.
There's no reason that there should be like one family who's in charge of the team that represents Minnesota.
Yeah.
No. How about like the state runs it?
Yeah. No. Like if you treat a sports team like.
Ooh.
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
This ties right into the NBA and the Timberwolves.
FuzzJockRadio.
So like, not to interrupt the conversation because the conversation is going straight into this. Because the Timberwolves were just recently purchased by Alex Rodriguez, ex Major League Baseball player from Mankato's own Glenn Taylor, and so like ownership not being owned by the public, like he can do. He says so the big thing is that he says he's not gonna move the Timberwolves from Minneapolis. However, the Seattle Supersonics just recently moved from Seattle, so Seattle doesn't have a team, and Eric Blake really wants an NBA team since he just got an NHL team. And
that's true.
They just talked to Mr. Timberwolves himself, Kevin Garnett, and they just asked him, do you have any interest in being part of the new ownership group, whether in basketball operations or as a minority owner or in some way being part of the franchise? He said, I think that opportunity has passed. I actually think I've been hearing whispers that A-Rod is actually going to take the Timberwolves to Seattle. So we'll see. I don't know. Would you be upset if that happened? No one wants to see the Wolves leave Minneapolis, but, it's business. I would never want the Timberwolves to leave Minneapolis and Minnesota. I think that team means a lot to the state. The Minnesota Timberwolves announced today. Oh,
that's
no,
next.
That's next. So, yeah, there's a big idea that he's going to be moving the Timberwolves once a couple years go in, so we'll lose our NBA team.
And why should we? Why should the Minnesota team have to be moved at all? Why?
Yeah, it's like you should be treating them like a public utility. Like we've got a phone company, you've got like a power company, and you have a baseball company. Yeah. Like that makes just as much sense as having a police department.
Yeah,
like
right. Especially when they're influencing our politics. Especially when they're making us pay for their stadiums. Like it's our stadium. It's our team.
Right.
It's our team. It shouldn't be a threat of somebody coming in, buying it, and taking it away from us. It's happened and it's happened too many times in Minnesota. It's happened to our hockey teams. It's already happened to one of our NBA teams. We don't need, and it won't be just the Timberwolves that would be leaving. It would also be the Lynx.
Mm-hmm. Because they're owned by the same
group.
Company. Yep.
They're
same group.
No, all right. So, like, once again, not sports guy, never cared about sports. Everything you're describing to me makes perfect sense that these need to be like regionally owned. Now, isn't that actually something like the Packers do?
The Packers are owned in a like shares are
Okay.
owned of the local people.
Okay,
And
so it's
they
not
have
like
to
a
get handed
utility,
down.
but it's
okay,
but
it's locally owned though.
Yeah, I mean that. Why wouldn't I would love to hear an argument as to why that's a bad idea, and I cannot think of a single one.
I agree. There are no arguments.
All right, you guys have turned me into it. I will purchase a share of the Minnesota Twins and the LA Dodgers. Like let me know the price. Like I'll find the cash. Deal.
So, along with what Garnett said, he said that if I have a dream, I would say that I would love to be able to go and buy the Seattle Supersonics and reactivate the Seattle Northwest and get NBA loving back going into that area. I think it's needed and it's essential. Seattle was huge to our league, not just Portland, but the whole Northwest. I would love to be able to do that. These comments will clearly make Garnett a popular man in Seattle. With the NHL team coming into the city, there is definitely a chance they could see NBA coming back there. So yeah, did the Timberwolves win tonight?
No,
we stopped. No, they lost. Okay,
they lost.
Today they announced the much anticipated Nike 2021 NBA City Edition uniform. This year's campaign is a remix the game. It juxtaposes old and new and is a compilation of the franchise's greatest hits. So it looks like Garnett's old jersey.
I was just going to say, is it his rookie one?
Yeah, with the trees around the collars and shit. Like,
oh, so it's the Swingman black with outline with the light blue, right? It's
something
light
like
blue.
That.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they look really cool. They look really cool, and I think they're giving us that because they know that they're going to be leaving real soon. So we might as well give us, all of our uniforms that we've had in the past in one right before they leave.
There you go.
So just now, this was me misinterpreting the language of this, but I just had an idea where they're talking about the remix, thing. What we need a video game. They need to make an NBA or you can do this for any sport, but have different teams of different eras. So you could play as the Minneapolis Timberwolves in '85 against the Lakers of today.
The old Lakers versus the new Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. You can play as pick the year of the team that you want to play as, and you could do them against each other.
Oh yeah, they have that in different modes and stuff in the NBA games.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that is a real thing. Okay, cool. I was how is it? I've never heard of this, but I also once again don't.
It took a while for them to figure out how to do that, but it was all about because they couldn't, the old teams and old player names they couldn't use.
Oh, it's a licensing thing because those guys own their likeness.
Yep.
Got
exactly.
So just make do the thing where it's instead of it being
just
Coca-Cola, your drinks are Nuka-Cola. Just come up with the off-brand version.
Yeah.
That everybody knows what it really is.
So the Timberwolves are now 3-3, which makes them put it right in the middle of the pack, which is a lot better than the beginning of last year. Last year they were the very dead last. So the new coach change, Finch, he's doing pretty well.
What is slashing?
Slashing is like that,
Mm-hmm.
The Wild are also doing pretty well. They currently are 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all we have for that. I was expecting Charles to maybe add a little bit more to the Wild.
No, I got nothing for the hockey. I just enjoy watching the Wild. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I got a little something for you, though. I thought this would be fun. Here, this is for you, Fuzzy.
Okay.
There you go.
There.
Your own performance of it you can use for whatever you need.
Very nice, very nice. As we all know, that is the theme song for all sports. Where's my notes here? That's that Seven Nation Army by Jack White, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, originally by the White Stripes. I think they wrote it in 2003 on tour in Melbourne, Australia.
And that's the one they did in 3 days.
No, I think that he literally wrote it in a sound check and was like, "It's okay." And then
amazing.
And then it ended up being like by far the biggest hit of his career, and it's paid my rent so many times over from all of my years of guitar teaching.
Oh yeah, because everybody wants to learn that.
Yeah, well, because that's the song that kind of took over for Smoke on the Water. That's the first song every kid learns on every instrument nowadays.
Oh wow. I never
So if
thought
I'm
of that.
teaching you like piano, you're learning Seven Nation Army. If I'm teaching you guitar, you're learning Seven Nation Army. Bass, oh, you better believe that Seven Nation Army.
Wow. Yeah, so that is considered the theme song for sports nowadays. It's really strange because to me years ago, like right when the song came out, like 6 years ago or so, I was DJing for the Mankato Roller Derby Girls, and they asked me to mix that song into their when they rolled out for their intro. That was their intro song, and then all of a sudden everybody's using it after I used it for an intro song for our local roller derby team. So I should probably get some residuals. If you know how to get a hold of Jack White, please let him know that Fuzzy Mankato.
I don't have any direct contact with Jack White, but I will say you could reach out to BMI. They're the performing rights organization that issues royalties for music. And maybe I bet if you had like 1/10 of a point on that, you would still probably be able to buy a bigger house.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be.
I'm sure
that'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty cool. The Major League Quidditch Championship bid deadline extended. Regular season series bidding now available.
If you want to start a franchise of Quidditch, now's your time.
The 2022.
Now, would this be something where you have to have the local reach out to the municipality and have a Quidditch stadium built?
You do have to actually find you do not include. This does not include rentals for the location. So
it's only $500.
Municipalities to make Quidditch stadium.
Now, where is Big Q in this? Where is Big Quidditch? Are they making their money?
They're
off
bigger
of
than
rent?
FIFA.
Okay,
they're horrible.
One of these evil.
They're wicked.
Because I was wondering, are they making their money off of selling the equipment, off the flying lessons, off of the?
They make the bristles for the brush or for the brooms, and they sell them one by one.
Well, they're sold
individually.
Yeah.
That's what
it
they
only
make
costs
$500 for MLQ Super Series and $250 for MLQ Series. So for $750, you can get both packages. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Should we go to the next topic?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Okay, Jesse. Do you like wrestling, and do you know anything about wrestling, aka AEW?
So AEW, I know a smidge about. I will say the first time I saw an AEW match with Charlie, I reached out to some people I know in the television business the next day, and I was like, does anyone know anyone working there? How can I write music for this?
Yes, you should totally do that.
I reached out to some people who are some relatively heavy hitters.
Oh man.
And I was like, hey, do you know anyone that works in this? And their responses are like, I don't think I do, but that would be fucking awesome if you got that. So
I think that would be fucking awesome if you got that. Totally. I would be so proud of you.
Dude, writing wrestling themes, I mean, all of my years of playing in metal bands would immediately pay out.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
absolutely
writing the most tough guy metal. It'd be so much fun.
One of the tops, played songs right now on the billboards for The Rock is an opening or an entrance song for one of the AEW guys right now.
Which guy was
Adam Cole?
Okay,
is who it is. But it's all.
I remember there was one of them you showed me where I was like, "This just sounds like Five Finger Death Punch."
Oh,
it's just Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, I don't remember. That's not that one.
Okay. But yeah, there was like like I said, the night we watched that, I think this was all pre-pandemic. I think this was like right before everything all like.
Was this the one with it was Jericho wrestling some other guy, or was this the one with the orange juice?
No.
Okay, it was before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was like Jericho because I remember, like I said, reaching out to
Yeah.
some contacts I have, like being like I reached out to some people I know who are like some producers for TV shows, and I was like, do you know these? Do you know any of these people? And they're like, I don't think so, but I can try.
Yeah, they should try really hard. Like their main music guy, his name is Ruckus. Ruckus.
There's
a Twitter.
There's also an incredible interview I listened to this summer with the guy who wrote all the music for the WWE.
Jim Johnson?
Yes.
Oh.
And so he was interviewed for like a composing podcast I listened to.
Amazing.
And it was so heartbreaking listening to him talk about like how little money he made.
Really?
And he's not even in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like everyone is in the fucking Hall of Fame. He's not in it.
Yeah, like to get into a little bit, like a real brief version of it, but like as a composer, most of the way you make your money is off of like the television royalties.
Sure.
And he had access to none of that. So he was getting paid like an hourly employee.
Oh man, that's not why you make
because it's like Vince was giving him a salary, like he's just some normal dude. And then Vince was holding on to all the royalties, so he's double dipping.
Oh my goodness!
Releasing albums.
Oh my goodness! This is a big reason why we don't talk about the WWE in this whole podcast, or WWF or whatever you want to call it. In this whole
still the WWF to me.
Yeah, it's because Vince is such a horrible person and he's done his employees so wrong over all the years, and he's racist and he's homophobic and he's just a piece of shit that we're just like, we don't talk about him. And this is just another aspect. He doesn't even pay his musicians the royalties that they should be getting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the main thing. Like that's the thing with making music and making like
art,
writing books. And art is you get royalties you get your residuals, right? You get something from being the artist.
Yeah, you create this work and then it pays for you to be able to make more of that rather than only being paid when you're creating new. Like, they're not all going to be zingers, right?
No,
like that's part of the way it works. Like, it's like the famous Pablo Picasso quote of he was leaving a store, Pablo Picasso, and somebody asked him to draw a picture. And so he draws something on the back of a napkin, hands it to the guy, and he goes, "That'll be $1 million." And he goes, "Why would I pay you $1 million for this thing that you wrote in 2 seconds?" He goes, "Well, because it took me my whole life to learn how to do it in 2 seconds."
Yes. There's a lot of that in computer. I went to school for computer science and whatnot, and a lot of that is in IT work. Is that I come over, fix some monitors. All I had to do was turn on the power strip, and then the person's like, "Well, we pay you for that? Why do we pay you that much for that?" It's like, because I took tons of education to realize that the first thing you do is turn it off and turn it back on again.
Step 1, power cycle. Step 2, all right, now
the power's not on. That's the first thing I'm going to look at. You didn't look at it. Fuck off. I mean, I don't know. It's just, that shit really pisses me off. Or just like with musicians. You're gonna get paid to play by having exposure.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting exposure. Like this is a big event. There's like this person's headlining. Why should I pay the opening act? You get exposure because Redman's playing at the Red Sky. Like it's like, no, pay everybody that's fucking performing that show.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you put in the work too to practice. Like you spent all week in the rehearsal studio before you go and do your show for Redman. Like you need, like, I mean, and once again, this like goes back to like we were talking about of like, there's just there's too much money on one side of this whole equation, right? And not enough on the other.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly it. Hopefully, so John Moxley's putting out a new book, and hopefully he gets his money, his royalties and everything from that.
I think he will.
I think he will. It sounds like AEW is pretty. Tony Khan realizes that he has a lot of money, so he's letting all the players make the money as well. That's like it totally feels like AEW is that whole. Hey, I have a lot of money. I want to help you make a lot of money as well. It's what it feels like.
Well, because you know that like he's not trying to take as much as he can out of each one of their pockets because he already has so much money he doesn't know what to do with it. So why does he need to double dip on their pockets when he's already making money off the show?
That's great. And it makes everybody feel good. Everybody's working. So like this John Moxley book's coming out. It looks like it's a shoot book because like in the quotes that we have here, there's a lot of the F words being dropped and him being really mad. I might be skipping this book. Maybe.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm probably gonna skip it too. It's gonna tell a damning story of Vince and the horrors of WWE, which we already know
that
about,
is something that's going to come out of this is that he's not going to be shy.
No, because he was treated pretty shittily. Like they were not nice. To him
This dude, Turf, this dude Moxley dude, he in AEW, he's like the street hardened badass, right? And he's
Stone Cold.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stone Cold. Got it.
Stone Cold. Yeah.
But yeah. A little bit more hardcore than Stone Cold almost too.
A little less redneck, a little more hardcore. Yeah. A little more stab you in an alleyway.
Absolutely.
And you know, in WWE, they tried to play him off as this crazy dude. Like they tried to play him off as a crazy dude, and then
they'd make him dress up like as a bear and ride like a tricycle down, and
what they were doing,
he's not in the costume.
What they were doing is that they were making fun of people with mental disorders through John Moxley and thinking that it was funny. And that's the problem that Vince has with his company, is that he thinks certain things are funny, so he makes his wrestlers do those things that he thinks is funny.
I mean, this sounds like you read about the Nero and the fall of the Roman Republic, where it's like, yes, now dance for my enjoyment.
Yes.
You're like, that's how you end up getting guillotined, dude.
That's exactly what he was doing for all these years, and that's exactly what's starting to happen. Because now another company is in trying to,
Yeah, I mean, I think AEW, with the stuff I've seen, the first time I watched a lot of WWF in the Attitude Era, and because I, like many people, was 14 at that time, so I was the prime demographic for it, and I thought it was really enjoyable. And watching AEW was the first time where I was yeah, this reminds me of what I enjoyed about this, where it's you're along for the fun ride, it's like watching Lord of the Rings, right? Nobody, you're buying into the fantasy of it.
And that's exactly the feelings that I got as well when I first started watching it. I didn't really watch a whole lot of WWE when I was a kid like everybody else did, but at the same time I understood, the fun of it, and this just was so fun. And they do things right, like this match that they have coming up with Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley. You have the hardcore street thug going against a dude that doesn't want to wrestle.
Slacker.
He his whole gimmick, his thing is that he doesn't really want to wrestle. He's lazy, doesn't talk a whole lot. One of his main things is that he'll kick you multiple times, but when he's kicking you, it's very light. It's like a kick, and then
but the crowd reacts as if he's kicking your ass, and so you're just like, what the hell is happening while he's doing it?
But with all this laziness, he actually is a great wrestler. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he'll pop out a move. And what's really neat about this is that, it's a gimmick. It's goofy. It's fun. It's light. And it's this lazy dude versus this street hardcore dude, and it's you'll never see something like that. And it's just fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I think, at the end of the day, I think you know, like this is like the curse of the air quotes real artist, right? Is like the moment you like view yourself as a real artist, you stop having fun and you forget that this stuff is supposed to be fun, right?
Exactly.
And like it's and it's so easy, and you see it all the time. Certainly in music, where it's like, oh, you know, and in writing too, and you know, it's like not everything needs to be, you know, reading War and Peace. Not everything needs to be Bach.
And I think that's when the term the artist sold out actually comes into play. Not by getting that paycheck from that major company, but by just like selling out to like being like, well, now this isn't fun anymore. I have to do something more. I have to do, you know, I have to make money at this, or I have to, once you start feeling that you have to, I feel that as an artist, you sold out.
Yeah, no, I think that like it's once you're not internally motivated anymore, like
Yes,
you know, and like once enjoyment has nothing to do with the process, that's the sellout part, right? Like that's where everyone picks up on when you're making an album, because like you really believe it, versus when you're making an album to pay for the mortgage on your third house.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
And there we go. That's the sound of fuzzy memory trivia time. This is when I ask the Hest questions and they answer them. And unlike the other segment that was called, what was that other segment called that we did earlier?
Fuzz question of the week.
Instead of fuzz question of the week, this one you get points, and we don't extrapolate on why the answer is the answer, because the answer is only one answer. Does that make sense, guys? So we'll do a round robin here, if that's what that's called. I don't remember. But
we're pretty deep in the season, so you've got to have a lot of points, right?
Season 8. It is currently 1-0. Charles versus the guest Hests.
1-0. No! Oh no! So at best I can tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's 1-0 still, right?
1-0,
okay.
Correct.
Okay. Turf. The traditional Wimbledon colors are green and what?
White.
Incorrect. C-dubs.
Yellow.
Incorrect. Purple.
No.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
I did not get that. What?
I knew that, I swear.
Yeah.
C-dubs. Stephen Curry led all rookies in which category for the 2009-2010 NBA season?
3-point shots.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Turf.
Income.
Steals. I like that one.
That's a really good answer, because I bet you're right.
Turf. Who was the Knicks' first rookie of the year?
Jesus.
Incorrect. C-dubs.
Derrick Rose.
Incorrect. Willis Reed. C-dubs. Who was European Footballer of the Year in 2001?
I got this last time. I got it wrong. It's Marcus Boulderface.
Incorrect. Turf.
What?
Who was the European Footballer of the Year in 2001? European Footballer of the Year in 2001.
Oh God, can I even name? I assume like Soccer McSoccerface. I don't.
Incorrect.
I've only got this 3 times.
Michael Owen.
Michael Owens.
Nah. Jesse Owens, I've heard.
Yeah,
of.
there you go.
Yeah.
That.
Okay, what team did George Karl become coach of in 2005? Turf.
Liverpool United.
Incorrect. C-dubs.
Chicago. No, the New York Knicks.
Incorrect. Denver Nuggets.
Oh.
And then that's the end of Fuzzy Memory Trivia. It is still 1-0. Good job, Des. Good job.
I'm winning. I'm winning.
So that brings us to the end of the episode. Episode 8, that is. Hopefully
it was fun.
Yeah.
I had a far more enjoyable time than I thought I was going to be talking about
really
sports.
Fast. It went by really fast. Yeah.
Once again, socialize the sports teams.
Yes,
that's the thing I like. All about that.
I like that a lot. I like that idea a lot. We're going to expand upon that in the future episodes. At the end of the episode, what we usually do is we talk about what we're going to do this next week. And with including that, Turff, do you have anything? Do you want to plug or anything like that either?
Yeah, I mean, so
What's going on?
if you guys want to check it out, I've been writing a lot of music for the new season, upcoming season of Ghost Hunters. So check out Ghost Hunters. I'm all over that. Also, Life Below Zero had a bunch of stuff in that.
Cool.
And then most recently, I've been working with a new artist by the name of Dolly Dagger. So if you look her, it's named after a Jimi Hendrix song. But if you look up Dolly Dagger as a artist on Spotify, you're going to see all of the new songs I've been writing with her, and we got a couple music videos out, and we're working on a full length.
I love Jimi Hendrix.
So does Dolly.
Jimi Hendrix is fun fact of the week. Jimmy, I should have that as a
that's a good one
segment. Fun fact of the week. Fuzzy's favorite musician is Jimi Hendrix, and
dude,
Fuzzy's favorite vocalist, Old Dirty Bastard. C-Dubs. C-Dubs, what do you got going on this next week? You got anything to plug?
Yeah, I want to plug my podcast. It's also a radio show every Monday at 10:30 CST PM. It's called FuzzJockRadio. It's where I talk sports. It's very in-depth and hardcore analytical. Very much not a joke or funny at all. It's not. It's very serious.
That's this show. That's this show.
No, that's a different one.
Oh.
All right. Real serious question for both of you guys. Do either of you guys listen to 538 Sports?
No.
Are you familiar? So I listen to 538 Politics. It's Nate Silver, who's like the biggest stats nerd in the world.
Okay.
And then he has a sports podcast, and I'm sure it's the dorkiest thing you've ever heard.
I will look into that.
That'll be fun.
Fuzzy.
Yeah?
What are you going to do next week? You got anything to plug?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, we're doing plugs. Well, I would like to say that thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy what you just listened to, you can support us by going to fuzztalkshop.com. You can purchase like t-shirts and mugs and stickers and a bunch of different things. As you noticed, we don't put any advertisings in this thing or any sponsorships in this podcast because we fucking hate advertising. So yeah, tune in or go to fuzztalkshop.com, buy some merchandise if you want to. If you don't want to, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Doing all this is pretty.
We'll be back next week.
But, we will be back next week. Charles, before next week, can you go check the space station for JMez? I'm getting a little worried. He's been on vacation for a while.
Yeah.
I'll go down to the vault. You know, the vault that I was hanging out in during the
vault
beginning of the pandemic.
Now, is that vault the one past the ballroom, or is it?
That's a completely different vault.
So is this the solarium vault you guys are talking about?
Well, this is the one that I was put in during the beginning of the pandemic, and then like everybody kind of left me to my own devices. I didn't have a whole lot of food.
Yeah, I haven't been out on the West Wing in a while.
It was weird. But I'm gonna go down there by next week. I'll check down there to see if JMez is
wild
there.
games on the space station.
Because it is now that I know that I can't check our own emails. Like,
yeah, we're in trouble.
Where is he? So we'll figure that out. We'll be back next week. Thank you for tuning in, Turff.
I love you all.
Thank you very much for being part of the cast tonight. We will.
Thank you very much. This was surprisingly fun.
We will send you no money for this.
My agent will be suing you shortly.
Oh, please don't.
FuzzJockRadio.
Say, if you're not frustrated, there's something wrong with you, and you shouldn't be on this team. You shouldn't be a coach. You're not frustrated. We want to win. We want to put the effort. We do put the effort in week to week, every single day at practice. We have the guys, the quality guys, good football players on the team to do it. So if you're not frustrated, there's something wrong. We got to find.
Okay, hold on. Okay. What you say? We came here with the mindset that we was gonna win no matter what.